We are getting involved in this also. I'm not going to say too much right now, but I will say that from the deep web to Hollywood to Washington to all over the United States of America, we have people now that are looking deep. We are now blessed by being infused with people high up in the government, not just the United States of America. People are coming in and helping us in the deep web all over the United States of America with money, with intelligence. We are gathering intelligence to pass to the right people. I'm not going to say too much about this because I'm getting highly involved in this too. And we think we're going to start to pierce that veil of evil and be able to start aiding in the apprehension and conviction of a lot of the scum that's out there.
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this Monday edition, the 15th day of January 2018. And we are joined via Skype from Japan by Steven Seagal, the famous actor and, of course, famous black belt in martial arts, a friend of Vladimir Putin, of course, a friend of President Trump, a friend of so many, and, of course, a well-known American patriot who we notice has been demonized in the press quite a bit as of late. In fact, I noticed just last Friday, and then a few weeks before that, on the same shows of Stephen Colbert, I'm attacked, and then next is Steven Seagal.
One voice of calm in these troubled times is right-wing radio host and furious cashew Alex Jones.
We'll be right back with funny man Steven Seagal.
They've got a script. It is simply incredible. And then next they go into Trump. And I've been told by people inside entertainment, inside so-called news, that we are on a hit list. And you know George Soros is also on record, funding Media Matters and others, literally coming out of the woodwork against everything we're doing because we are nationalist, because we're promoting peace and justice, because we don't want to have war with Russia, because we're concerned about communist China. These are all the things that if you check them off on the box, makes the deep state come after you. Well, Steven Seagal has also now written a best-selling book dealing with the wolves of the deep state, dealing with all the incredible things that are happening. But the main reason I'm very excited to have Mr. Seagal on today is to deal with this incredibly clear deep state operation with Gloria Allred and her daughter, Lisa Bloom, where they go after everybody that is a nationalist, a libertarian, a conservative, anybody that is even halfway nice to President Trump. And it's come out in The Hill, in Fox News, even the Associated Press, that attorney Lisa Bloom sought to line up paydays for women accusing Trump of sexual misconduct, and she gets 30+% in contracts that were secret, that were leaked, of all of the payments that the women get from the media. When you realize this, it makes your head spin, because she also defends Mr. Weinstein, Harvey Weinstein, who we have a whole bunch of people, including a chauffeur, that said he would rape women in front of them. But, she is defending Harvey Weinstein. This is incredible, and they're building all this up. They admit it, to go after President Trump because it was Bill Clinton's documented improprieties with women and the settlements he made that are one of the reasons Hillary lost. So they said, what are we going to do? We've been caught in bed with foreign governments. Let's blame Trump. Oh, my gosh, we've been caught in settled cases of women being raped. What are we going to do with the whole lock her up, Hillary for prison movement that we launched here in InfoWars? Project it on to innocent people that we see as a threat. And Steven Seagal, because of his close relationship with President Putin, and because he's been a peacemaker, and because he's been a goodwill ambassador, because a part of his family are from Russia, has now come under total deep state attack. Now, that's my statement on it. Let's get right to Mr. Seagal, who says he's going to give us a wide-ranging, in-depth interview on this, on what he says he has evidence and intel on pedophile networks in Hollywood, and that they're using all of this as well to try to cover up what's happening there. So here we go. Mr. Seagal from Japan, thank you for joining us.
Well, let me start out by saying that today's Martin Luther King Day. He was a tremendous patriot and an amazing force in American history. And I'm honored to be here on your show and to be able to pay homage to Martin Luther King today. First off, let me start by saying that I love the United States of America and the Constitution. And as you have said, I am a patriot. And I think that this in and of itself, along with what I would consider, what many people consider, saying about me that I know too much, about things that they don't want me to know about. I talk about things they don't want me to talk about, so this becomes, very problematic for certain people. Fascinating when you're talking about Lisa Bloom, because it sounds to me like what you're saying is that she's procuring money to pay to women to lie about certain people and make ruthless accusations about certain people. And it's not just President Trump. And by the way, this isn't just about me, because hundreds of people in Hollywood have been attacked, and hundreds of people in Hollywood have been, in my opinion, falsely accused. Certainly, if we look at a number of 100%, my opinion is that 60% of these people are completely innocent, and that includes me. And what nobody wants to talk about is that when you accuse somebody, really, according to the Constitution of the United States of America, you should have some kind of due process before you ruin their life. There should be evidence, there should be proof, there should be witnesses. And in most of these cases, they're 20, 25, 30 years old. They're not providing evidence or proof or witnesses. They're just throwing out accusations. They push a button on a computer, and all of a sudden somebody's life is ruined. And they are able to ruin their livelihood, their ability to earn money, their ability to feed their family, their name, their reputation, their marriage, all that stuff. And you know what I hate, Alex? These people don't care. They have a political agenda where they want to assassinate anybody that they think is in the opposite camp or opposes their political agenda, or it's just women who are taking money. And I love what you said when you said fake press are just as guilty as the dirty people who pay the dirty girls who take money to lie.
That's right. In fact, I wrote that months ago, that the real villains here are the big organized political systems, particularly the Democratic Party, that are kingpins at this, who go out, organize this, then pay the women, and then the press goes along with it and magnifies it. And then if there's just an accusation like the Prairie Home Companion guy, the woman hugged him, she had a short top on, he touched her back, and then he was fired. This is crazy.
Done. When people say, and I want to, also thank Liam Neeson for coming out and being brave enough to say something. When people say it's a witch hunt, it's worse than any witch hunt America's ever seen. When people say it's McCarthyism, it's worse than McCarthyism. And the sad part is everybody, from every agent to every studio head to every actress, they're all afraid to come out and tell the truth. And this is what's outrageous, and this is what's killing America. And by the way, Alex, you know who's behind these people who are working the fake press and people who are just doing this for whatever, whether it's money or wanting to be famous or wanting to assassinate their enemies. We have a situation here where this is ruining our country. And if you know, and you do, who's behind this, really, this is treasonous. This is going to, if we don't change legislation that will stop these people from doing this, I think America will eventually collapse. And I think these people who are doing this are guilty of treason. I think that treason is one of the biggest, nastiest crimes that one can commit in the United States of America. As you know, if convicted, it can be punishable by death.
Wow, what a cliffhanger. This is the first segment of a wide-ranging interview that Mr. Seagal has agreed to do. Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Luther King Day. What an incredible individual that said judge people on the character of their deeds and the content of actually what they do, not off rumors, not off lies, but off the fruits of what they stand for. And now any man gets accused, Hollywood, the media gangs up on it, and their career, their life, their family is destroyed. We'll be right back with Steven Seagal on the other side. I'm Alex Jones, and this is The InfoWar. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back on this Monday transmission. Steven Seagal, live, unedited. You're going to be able to actually hear from him what he actually stands for and what he believes. I know every time I see him on U.S. or British or Russian or Japanese television, it's amazing what he's saying. And every time we play clips on the show, it's some of the most viral videos that we put out. But it's always 3, 4, 5 minutes on a show. He said he'll stay with us over an hour. So enough of Alex Jones. Let's go right back to Steven Seagal. Steven, we just left off for folks that joined us. You said this covert deep state action, which they admit they're involved in, it's in the WikiLeaks, to target the globalist enemies with fake sexual charges being directed by the most dirty system in the world, Hollywood, is threatening to bring down the country. And I think that really is their plan. Please continue with what you were saying earlier.
The most genius thing that they have done is they figured out a way to control most of Hollywood. They figured out a way to control 99% of the press. Once they did that, they felt that they could control the minds and the future of most of the average citizens in the United States of America. This was a complete tragedy, and this isn't just about me. As you know, it's hundreds of people now in Hollywood and around the world. People like Richard Branson, who's done nothing but good for the United States and other countries. I mean, you know, it's hundreds of people that have been accused, and many of those people are completely and absolutely innocent. And as far as I'm concerned, almost all of them are completely innocent until you've given them due process. And that's why I think it needs to become criminal if people wantingly and knowingly make up false things that can destroy people's lives without evidence, proof, witnesses, stuff like that. It's hundreds of people, Alex. Hundreds of people whose lives they've broken. Hundreds.
Well, it's a total hysteria now. And again, it's like Liam Neeson said, if you pat a woman on the knee, you're not assaulting them. And now in some areas of the world, like Switzerland, the government's saying, get a contract before you even have a relationship. Well, whatever happened to passion? I mean, whatever happened to Elvis is on the stage and young women are throwing their underwear at him? I mean, is that a form of rape? Are they raping Elvis? I mean, this is crazy. And now they're saying schools are going to...
It's been completely one-sided. It's been completely one-sided. You and I know we have wives, we have children. I would die for a stranger if I had to. And as a police officer, any day of my life, I would have thrown my life down on the line to save the life of a child, of an innocent person, of women and children. We herald and support all the women who've really been abused. But this movement is annihilating their chances because all of this is going to come out. And as you know, there is a whole force of people gathering around the world now putting in lots of money, lots of time. These people are going to start investigating the people who are coming after us. We're going to be coming after them. We are now investigating them. And this is something that, is going to turn into, when you say, InfoWars, this is going to turn into a war. But it's two-way traffic now because the people who are being paid to lie and the people who paying them to lie are going to be exposed.
Do you want to get into Hollywood and the pedophilia rings that you were telling me about over the phone now or later in the broadcast?
All I can tell you is we have recently come into tremendously influential people in the United States who have money and who have power, and some of them are very high up in the government. They're all now putting together a group of people who are investigating. And I'm really wondering why every time anybody talks about the pedophilia rings in Hollywood or Washington or anywhere else in the United States, it gets buried immediately. Alex, you know this as well as I do. Our most precious asset, our most precious things in life are our children. And you know that we would die for a stranger who's a child to protect them against this kind of evil. And why is it that pedophilia in the United States is being protected and overlooked? Our children are the most precious thing we have in this life, and we are going to have to break this sort of secret, protected door that everyone is hiding behind.
That's right, and President Trump, behind the scenes, has authorized incredible arrest. We're talking 5 times so far, any previous year, thousands and thousands of pedophiles, not just with child porn, but in many cases with small children as young as 6 months old that were being gang raped. And it literally will hit the newspaper one time. Hundreds of arrests here, dozens of arrests there, hundreds of arrests here every day. And I personally am working with members of the military and some of these operations you're talking about, who just this morning contacted me about huge raids that took place on the East Coast last night, catching them with the children.
Exactly.
Catching them with the children.
Exactly. We are getting involved in this also. I'm not going to say too much right now, but I will say that from the deep web to Hollywood to Washington to all over the United States of America, we have people now that are looking deep. We are now blessed by being infused with people high up in the government, not just the United States of America. People are coming in and helping us in the deep web all over the United States of America with money, with intelligence. We are gathering intelligence to pass to the right people. I'm not going to say too much about this because I'm getting highly involved in this too. And we think we're going to start to pierce that veil of evil and be able to start aiding in the apprehension and conviction of a lot of the scum that's out there.
It's truly incredible. And then the president signed the executive order seizing the child trafficker money, and the media basically attacked that and ignored it as well. Gave it almost no attention.
Yep. Which goes to show you this veil of protection that, everybody has. Everybody has in this dark, dark world,
Well, President Trump tweeted that anybody that molests or hurts children needs to be executed. And we, again, have seen total, absolute record bust, not just here, but all over the world. And the group that we're working with, again, we're not going to get into all of it, but it's multinational patriots and intelligence agencies. It's groups from our most elite military forces working with local law enforcement and trying to work with the feds. And Trump is trying to get good people in place at the federal level. And they're finding that they've used the pedophilia to blackmail and take control of Congress. And that's why the deep state is fighting President Trump and many others so hard right now, because they know that this corruption is being broken up, just like Putin has tried to do in Russia. I know you're very good friends with him. When we come back from break, I'd like to get into peacemaking and why aren't we working with Russia? They're Christian, they're free market, they're reformed to many extents. Why does the deep state want us to be at war with Russia? We'll be right back with this incredible interview with Steven Seagal on the other side. Please don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we're under attack. I just got sued last week by a gentleman from the Communist Party. from what happened out in Cleveland. I wasn't even there at the flag burning when there was a scuffle and all the rest of this stuff. And they're just coming after me again for millions of dollars. They're going after the police department out there. And there's more of these lawsuits as well, always coming from the very, very same sources. And I just need your support. InfoWarsStore.com. When you buy those products, you get great products and you fund the InfoWar. We've got a lot of big specials that are going to have to end this week on some of our best-selling supplements at InfoWarsStore.com. So whether it's the vitamin B12 Secret 12 or whether it's the X2 or whether it's all the other great products, you make this transmission possible. InfoWarsStore.com. More with Steven Seagal on the other side. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, an exclusive interview. Steven Seagal joins us from Asia via Skype. Again, if you're watching on the internet, please share the live links from Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and more. And if you're listening to a local AM or FM station, please tell folks about the local station and the show and the live broadcast that's taking place right now so that people can actually hear from the other side, because we have the Democratic Party on record going out offering millions of dollars to women. You've got Lisa Bloom, the lawyer, Gloria Allred's daughter, coming out, getting caught in the emails that were secret, offering even one woman, $200,000 to make accusations against the president. She gets 30+% of the money from these TV deals and from what the media pays to these women. I mean, this is incredible. And you notice it's almost always after the statute of limitations, decades later, show that people can't say, well, go put up or shut up. Go to the police. Show your evidence. No, it's always done decades ago. It is a formula. And what a house of cards. Even after this has all come out, even after the top Democratic lawyers and top Democrat pollsters and top lobbyists, not just Lisa Bloom, have been caught, have been recorded by women when they're offering them money. And that's Trump's ace in the hole. Some of these recordings have already come out where there are good women out there who do care about real victims and don't want people yelling, fire in a theater or crying wolf, so that when it really happens, people that have been abused get ignored, because the Democratic Party is basically using this as a weapon. And the reason I raised that point is Stephen, during the break we were talking, and he wanted to come back and make just that point. So I think I kind of just stole his thunder. But in your own words, Stephen, repeat what you were saying to me during the break, please, sir.
Well, I mean, all I was saying is that, we have a situation where obviously there are women who have really been assaulted. And as a police officer for many years, I saw this and was honored and able to help people who are in real distress and real trouble. We want nothing more but to be able to defend those people and help them. The thing that is an evil tragedy that is going on now is, like I said, people paying people to lie for their own political agenda, and because maybe they want to assassinate their enemy and destroy their name and reputation and family life and marriage and ability to earn money. There are a million reasons. There's a woman called Michelle Milken who stood up and said, listen, when people make claims, they lie. They lie for a multitude of reasons. They lie because they want to annihilate their enemies. They lie for money. They lie because they want to become famous and get in the news. And, she said, I'm not just making this up. I'm the one who has gotten into the FBI files and Leo files and law enforcement files, and I've gone over all the statistics, and I can tell you by my research, my meticulous analytical research, I can tell you that up to 40% of these claims are fake. Well, I personally think in Hollywood right now, it's a lot bigger number. So what I'm saying is, and I've said before, what some of these people don't realize is this is part of a plan to collapse the United States of America, because if the news becomes faker and faker, we won't know. The people will not know what's real and what's really happening. If the people don't know what's really happening, what do we have, Alex?
You just hit something.
Don't know the truth.
You just hit something that's profound. You're absolutely right. They're putting out all this fake news just to confuse everything. Mainstream media is already discredited, so now all they can do is just try to be such liars and accuse everybody else of being liars that no one is honorable anymore, or no one knows who's honorable. And so as the pedophilia comes out, and as the gay mafia in Hollywood that abuses and rapes so many men, I mean, from what I've heard in Hollywood from gay men, is that the gay mafia rapes men, abuses men. It's 2-to-1, 3-to-1, men being abused, not women, but that men won't go forward because they know people won't believe them, and people tell men just suck it up, and that it's mainly the gay mafia pushing this whole thing in Hollywood. And again, I'm not bashing gay people. There have been high-level people in Hollywood that say there is a gay mafia. Chappelle's talked about it. So many other people have talked about it, and that they're using this to basically smokescreen the abuse of men by men. Do you have any intel on that from all of your Hollywood sources?
Well, the intel is coming in from now, and we're getting a lot of it. But speaking of lies, I just wanted to say something else that we've talked about, and that is Adolf Hitler said something very, very interesting. And Adolf Hitler had a publicist that said something very, very interesting. And this publicist was, as you know, paid to fabricate and lie about a multitude of situations, including activity of Adolf Hitler. And one of the things his publicist repeatedly said was, if you tell a lie enough time, it becomes the truth. And the bigger the lie, the easier it is for people to believe it.
Absolutely. It's incredible. And again, they're using the whole Me Too movement to destroy relationships. People are even afraid to ask a woman out. It's admittedly killing normal human interaction. And we know Hollywood wants to destroy the family. We know they want to depopulate things. And I mean, that's really what this is an overall depopulation agenda.
Yeah, it's sort of part of it, you know. So, I mean, I think we need to start a movement. We've already started the movement. A lot of it is secret right now. We're secretly investigating everybody. We've got intelligence coming in on all these things. But our motto should be, and I hate all this hashtag this and that, it should be tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You know, I don't want to just sit here and say that high-level intelligence is battling the pedophile rings and just say it. Everybody knows we have incredible sources, so do you. I wonder if we should even tell people how you ended up getting on the show. I mean, I'm not going to, obviously, it's high-level U.S. intelligence said Seagal's been trying to get a hold of you for months, and I've been trying to get a hold of him for years. And just so you understand, this meeting was set up by high-level folks in the government. And I'm not saying that to brag. It's so people know there are patriots. And I don't want to go too far with this, Stephen, but you want to just confirm that for folks?
Oh, yeah, I'll confirm it. At the highest level, people have come to me and said, you know, we think that, you know, there's a bunch of what I call the alphabet agencies, and some people have, you know, made innuendos of my relationships with some of them. And I still have very good friends at the highest level in those agencies, and some of them have come forward to me and said, you know what, you two guys have to meet, and, you know, he wants you on the show, you'd love to be on the show, and here we are.
And again, we're not saying that to brag. I want to explain this to everybody very slowly and very clearly. In the last 3 weeks, twice, Colbert, one of the #1 shows on television where they put their propaganda out as comedy, attacks yours truly, and then next, Steven Seagal. And they do it on a bunch of other shows, too, that I can't even keep track of, because I've been told, and some of it's been leaked, that they have a hit list. And, of course, when we come back...
Well, I'm told the same thing. I've been told the same thing by undeniable sources. And, you know, what's amazing to me is these people that are out there attacking us, I wonder how many times they've done anything for the United States of America. Did they ever risk their life? Did they ever rescue anybody? Did they ever do anything? that was at all uncomfortable for them, for the United States of America.
Absolutely. We're going to go to break and come back and get into Putin, get into why they fear Steven Seagal so much, and why they've looked at their actuaries and numbers and decided we got to destroy Trump, we got to destroy Seagal, we got to destroy Jones, we've got to destroy people like Matt Drudge, they got to destroy people like Rand Paul, who's been physically attacked, and we're going to talk about that all on the other side of this incredible interview with Steven Seagal, uncensored, unfiltered. What an individual. No wonder they fear this guy. We'll be right back. Jimmy Kimmel, Colbert, these programs masquerade as comedy, but they're really fake news. And they both admit that they get marching orders from Chuck E. Schumer and the Democratic Party. And then what do? In order, they sit there and they attack myself, they attack my family, they attack who I am. They've had Tom Brokaw say that I'm a deeply racist person, but then not show a clip when everybody knows that I protested the KKK and I support Martin Luther King Day and think he was a great man. Why are they doing this? I'm not trying to make it about myself and Steven Seagal, but the point is, you know what they fear by what they attack. And that's why we're under siege, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, Mr. Seagal was mentioning the fact that for many, many years, more than a decade, he was, you know, a sheriff's deputy, you name it. That's one of the most dangerous jobs, like a volunteer firefighter. In most of these small counties, that's all there is volunteer firefighters. I've got family that's been seriously burned and gotten smoke inhalation being a volunteer firefighter. And then people like Colbert make fun of Mr. Seagal, saying he's served this country and served this flag. Well, if you don't think firefighters and police officers serve this country just as much as our military does in many cases, you're full of crap. And again, that's why they attack people like Seagal, because they know he actually cares about the country. When people like Colbert making his little joke last week, and 2 weeks ago and a month ago, always the same joke, and he dresses up like Steven Seagal, saying Steven Seagal says he served America, though he never did it. Well, you know what? He's serving America today, defending this republic from globalists trying to take it down and standing with our president. And all of you that stand for this republic are serving this country in its darkest hours when the country's starting to come out of its coma. Now, I'm going to stop ranting because I want us to get time with Steven Seagal. Steven, I want to get into why they fear you, why they're demonizing you, why they're attacking you. You know, even though you've not even been that public of a person, they're coming after you. Let's get into why they fear you. I know you don't want to talk about yourself, but we talked for hours this weekend. I mean, you were nailing it. You were, I mean, just so you've got the floor.
You have a situation where you look at geopolitical global crisis. We are in a crisis right now. The world is in a crisis. We have to look at the geopolitical balance of power. I have always felt that Russia and America should be brothers. I've also always felt that Russia wants to be our brother. I've also always felt that there has been billions and billions of dollars put into demonizing Russia and amazing propaganda demonizing President Putin. And I think that it's an outrage, and it's not just an outrage, it's really bad for our future in the sense that if Russia and America become brothers, we have a real chance to have a greater peace in the world and a more chance of global survival. I'm always outraged when I see the kinds of things like when they say, oh, you know, I don't remember if there's a 27 or 37 or 57 intelligence agencies in America all said that Russia and Putin hacked the election. Well, certainly we don't have that many. And as you know, that's been debunked. They never found any proof that I know of. And yet, you know, the public sort of believes that narrative because, as you know, those people pretty much control the press at this point. And so what kind of a great sin have I committed by wanting Russia and America to be brothers? I don't want this for myself. I want this for the world.
expanding on that, Russia helped us take out ISIS. Russia, right after 9/11, gave us the most aid of any country, sent in helicopters, you name it, to help us in Afghanistan. And again, Russia has kicked the globalist out of its country. That's why they hate it. We have the same globalist running our country right now, and that's why they hate sovereign nation states. And geopolitically, it would make perfect sense. I mean, we privately talked about the real threat here this weekend geopolitically, and why the globalists have sided with another power, and why they want to basically play the U.S. and Russia off against each other. Can we speak about China?
Well, I mean, I'll leave that to you because you've already come out and said it, but the fact of the matter is that at this point, we have a situation where people are trying, when I say people, you know who I mean, they're spending billions of dollars to make sure that America and Russia do not become allies. They fear that because they know that if Russia and America become allies, they will not be able to make America a communist one world order.
That's right. And if you look at 1917, the very same globalists funded the takeover and the overthrow of the czars, and Russia has come out of 80-plus years of being under globalist rule, and that's why the globalists are so angry. They've lost Russia, now they're losing America, now the Brexit's happening. I mean, can you speak to the global phenomenon of populism we're seeing?
Well, I mean, right now, as I said, we are in a very, very precarious situation. After we annihilated Libya, we annihilated the buffer zones that we had because Gaddafi controlled the tribes. And, once those tribes, once Gaddafi was gone, those tribes kind of created ISIS. And all of a sudden, we have the situation where you have all of these quote-unquote refugees coming into Europe. Europe is I don't want to say almost gone, but they're in a tremendously difficult situation. Germany, I don't think will ever be the same, and I think within 4 or 5 years it will be, it won't be the Germany that anybody knew. So Europe is now, kind of on a slippery slope that I don't see how they'll ever be able to climb back up. And, the Middle East is a complete mess. And now we have a situation where every time our president, who was democratically elected, tries to make any kind of a move anywhere, there are people who are and agencies who are spending every bit of time and effort and money they can to thwart anything he wants to do. So it's really crippling our ability to be able to get out there and get involved in the balance of power.
Well, exactly. And you have Chucky Schumer saying the intelligence agencies have 7 ways to Sunday to get back at the president. You've got Phil Mudd, the former deputy director of the CIA, saying we're going to kill the president on CNN. This wouldn't be put up with anywhere. You've got the deep state admittedly illegally spying on the president, then lying about it. You've got this whole Russiagate thing with these Democrat FBI agents at the top, all caught trying to frame the president in their emails. I mean, they are so arrogant. They are so wild. They are so brazen.
No, I mean, this is, in my opinion, the worst America has been in the history of America in terms of turmoil.
You're absolutely right. We're going to go to break and start the next hour. And then I probably got 20 pages of notes that I wrote while we were talking this weekend. But I want to just go into different angles on this, how we defeat the deep state. I think we just let folks know there is a civil war politically going on, not just here, but all over the world, as the globalists try to maintain control over nation states. And anybody they think could be a leader for peace against their operations, and anybody that stands against radical Islam is being targeted because the globalists are allied with it. Steven Seagal joins us on Martin Luther King Day. And I know that when we talked this weekend, he really wanted to talk a lot about Martin Luther King as well and how much he admired Martin Luther King. So we're going to talk some about that and the ideas of Martin Luther King straight ahead in the next hour. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com, Newswars.com. Steven Seagal joining us from Asia on the other side. Stay with us. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, on this Monday edition. Steven Seagal just spent the whole last hour with us. He is, of course, back with us, going as long as he'd like to. And I was just thinking during the break about the whole Me Too movement. Whenever I told the story about being out in Hollywood on multiple occasions and having male producers grab my genitals as some bizarre rite of passage, and I'd tell them, watch out before I knock you upside the head, the leftist media made jokes about it. Just like you've got Oprah Winfrey, according to women, bringing women to Harvey Weinstein, telling them that it was safe. They felt like she was basically, trying to pimp them out. You have Oprah in photos sticking her tongue in his ear, all over him, and then defending him. You've got Meryl Streep defending Roman Polanski, raping a 13-year-old girl anally. I hate to have to get into all of this, but on Martin Luther King Day, the point is these people are covering up the real crimes that are going on by trying to lead the very, very movement that should be basically indicting them, probably criminally, according to all the witnesses of Weinstein raping people. But it's the same thing on the false flags of racism. There's real racism. White people can be racist, black people, you name it. Asians can be racist. But most of us really care about each other, and I want to have a community of humanity. I want to move forward. I don't need to play race cards that, we adopted my sister from South Korea, and I love her just like my own blood. And then I get called a Nazi with no evidence by Tom Brokaw, and my lawyers just called me last week, and they said the statute of limitations is coming up. You ready to file that lawsuit? And it looks like I'm going to have to because I just can't put up with the crap anymore. But just like there's real racism going on, there's so much fake poop swastikas, fake cross burnings, the thing at the Air Force Academy. They're reporting that over 99% of the modern race hate crimes that go on are now turning out to be false flags by the left to invoke race in this country and get us all at each other's throats. Just like the documents that came out last week that they haven't denied from the Soros group trying to fund Antifa to cause riots in 2015 to trigger nationwide race war so that Obama could have martial law. And those documents came out. And they have full-page ads now calling for the same stuff in the New York Times. So this is grave. And what Steven Seagal is talking about and what the Patriots and U.S. intelligence have asked us to come on air and talk about, this is serious. And we are striking back, and we are exposing the fact that the left is invoking race. The left is invoking sexism and all this as a smokescreen for their own activities and to turn us all against each other in a divide and conquer strategy. So Steven Seagal joins us, but I mean, obviously you follow the news. Every time it seems somebody writes racist stuff on a dorm or somebody burns a cross in a yard, it turns out the left is doing it. That's like when the Jewish cemeteries were getting vandalized, the Jewish centers. Trump said, hey, this is probably staged. And they went, oh, you're an anti-Semite, even though he loves Jews and loves Israel. And his daughter's, married to a prominent Orthodox Jewish man, Jared Kushner. I mean, it's just insane when they sit there and they use all this and then they continue to get caught. So with your background and also in law enforcement and all of it, I mean, it's clear they're trying to do this. Do you think it's working? And what can you add to that?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, it is working in the sense that, and I'm going to go back to this and repeat myself, once these people figured out a way to control most of Hollywood and control most of the press, this became a crippling blow to America. Because at that point, nobody knows the truth anymore. Nobody knows what's real and what's not. Our press is highly censored and highly manipulated. Our news is highly censored and highly manipulated. And so when you have a situation like that, when the average citizen in the United States of America doesn't really know what's true and what's not, they have to develop a real special kind of savvy, by reading between the lines. And we're in a situation now where I can't think of any news network that is really telling the truth all the time. Can you?
No, I can't. And that's why they're just so scared of Drudge Report or InfoWars or an individual like you, because they don't like what we're saying, because we're simply pointing the elephant out in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of other ways. We were talking this weekend, your book, your novel, The Way of the Shadow Wolves, the Deep State and the Hijacking of America. I mean, that's exactly what's happening. I've ordered the book. I haven't read it yet. I noticed that it went to close to #1 on Amazon, and then suddenly, and this has been in the news, they do this, they put fake reviews up on the top and remove your good reviews and basically drive them down and remove your stars. They admit Netflix does this to people they don't like. I mean, they're just rigging everything.
Yeah, we caught them doing that. We had all these great reviews that were with what we call verified purchases. And all of a sudden, one night, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks after the book had come out, between 3 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the morning, there were 30 bad reviews that came out at the same time. And then we knew. And right after that, they started doing that. We started setting up a situation where all of our good reviews that were from verified purchases were being pushed down to the bottom, and all the bad reviews were glaringly right out in front. And then I figured out, what was happening right away.
It's amazing. And then again, I don't know if you're familiar with this or know this, but I mean, literally almost every night on the so-called comedy shows, they attack you viciously and attack your book, you name it. I mean, it's so transparent. I mean, I know it's probably rough on you. It happens to me too, but isn't it deep down kind of something that you're honored to know that these really bad people don't like you, Steven Seagal?
Well, it's kind of like Joe Arpaio once said to me. I remember we were searching for a very, very bad guy, and nobody could find him, and I found this guy and was able to arrest him. We sat down with a private conversation, and he said to me, Stephen, I know all these people are coming for me. I know they hate me. But he said, you know me very well. You know what I am. And he said, but all these people that hate me, whether they win or lose and crucifying me or derailing me or kicking me out, I want you to know that many of this ilk of people who hate me, I consider a badge of honor.
Absolutely. And the cowards that go along with the mainstream media and are intimidated by this, they don't know what it's like to actually be in the arena. And, you've been a guy in the arena, and again, I'm not kissing your ass. It's true. People that are willing to go up against Hollywood, go up against the media, that's what it's all about. And that's the type of trailblazing that allows us to even have any type of civilization. I think we're starting to turn the tide, though. Globally, nationalism, sovereignty, mainstream media is in trouble, Hollywood's falling apart. I mean, I think we're seeing the beginning of the death throes here.
I mean, like I said, it's now going to be two-way traffic, because even somebody thinks, paying somebody to lie is legal. There is some stuff that we're looking at that we think is criminal. And by the way, treason is criminal. So we are investigating everybody now. Those people who about, they're investigating this and that, and they're accusing me of, a myriad of different things, we're investigating them now. And when I say we, I'm not talking about little people. So all these people who have been lying because they got money, and all these people who've been paid to lie, you know what, man? It's two-way traffic now. There is a movement, and that movement is not just in America, it's all over the world. There are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people, I think it's hundreds of thousands of people, who really, really resent what these people have done to America.
Oh, I think it's tens of millions just in the United States and globally. That's what they really fear, is the global leadership, people like yourself and Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, just promoting sovereignty, promoting free market, promoting coming together. I mean, that's all Trump does. And then they take things out of context. They lie. They just do anything they can to try to stop us getting control of our nations again. We've got more straight ahead. I've got even other key questions with the one, the only Steven Seagal. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com, Newswars.com. Again, if you're watching this transmission, ladies and gentlemen, you are the resistance, and I hope everybody's having a great Martin Luther King Day. There aren't a lot of people out there that I can say are my peers when it comes to going through the meat grinder of Hollywood and the globalists and the lies they spew. And I know for a fact they've had PIs and so-called journalists living in Austin for 2 years, going around trying to find somebody to make something up. And by the grace of God, they haven't been successful. But when you experience this and you experience them trying to make you an example to scare all the sheeple, and then you see other people that are being persecuted, you respect people that have skin in the game, and they become folks that are right there in the trenches with you. And when they demonized me and said I work for Russia in House Intelligence Committee and defense meetings, and they had to have kooks come in, leftist, policy wonk, not even real CIA people, not covert action people, but policy wonks, leftist foundation types, coming in and saying, Jones has got to be stopped, shut Jones down. You've seen the hearings. And then there's no proof. I've never been to Russia. I'd like to go, but at the same time, it made me pay more attention to Russia and really hear what Putin says and watch these 3-hour press conferences he gives. And I'm like, man, that guy's really smart. He says the things that really make sense. And he's trying to promote the family and tax cuts for people that have children. And he's promoting Christianity. And he's shutting down the Soros foundations that are openly trying to overthrow their nation and trying to subvert their children. And that's what we should be doing. My God, we have Soros documents where they're trying to cause race war and martial law. You see what they're doing. These people are incredible dirtbags. And that's why I'm here today standing up against this garbage, because it covers up for the real racism. It covers up for the real sexual abuse that goes on. And it's a bunch of pedophiles in Hollywood trying to cover their butts right now because they know there's an awakening. They know we're angry. They know we're upset, and they want to direct us in on ourselves. But I'm telling them, you see nationalism rising. You see humanity awakening. And as Steven Seagal said, it's a two-way street now. And the sleeping giant has awoken. Stephen, I know you've got a lot to say and a lot of points we haven't gotten to yet, but just recapping all of this, let's get into Vladimir Putin and why they fear him so much, and why do they hate Trump so much as well, from your research and also personal knowledge.
Well, I mean, I'll just give an example. Don't you think it's interesting that with ISIS, for example, do you think, I mean, ISIS is almost annihilated now. Who do you think did that? And how do you think it got done? And how many billions of dollars was spent doing it? I mean, 90% of getting rid of ISIS, as far as I know, was Russia and Vladimir Putin. Am I wrong?
It's probably over 90%.
Yeah, exactly, 99%. So, you know, those people who are worried about their way of life and their religion and the way they live and it being protected from people who are slaughtering women and children and Muslims and Christians and anyone, anywhere they can. You know, there's one man who did more to annihilate them than anybody, and that's Vladimir Putin and Russia. And so I just wonder, you know, what it is that people, what do they want to believe when they're being told all these things about him that are negative? I mean, the fact of the matter is, somebody, I forget who it was, they said, yeah, Vladimir Putin is this kind of a terrible, rotten person. I mean, let's face it, he was head of the KGB. Oh, that's right. That must make him terrible. And wasn't George Bush head of the CIA? So what's the difference? You know what I mean? It's just hilarious how these people think.
Well, continue, because you're a humble guy, but you're really good friends with Putin. And, you know, if Putin was promoting communism, if Putin was anti-Christian, if he was promoting radical Islam, I mean, Europe is openly flooding itself with 80% military-age men, 10 million plus. They want to bring in another 10 million. And Eastern Europe and Putin because they got invaded so much during the jihads, and of course the Crusades were a response to that. That now he's the bad guy when until Trump came along, it's only been Putin standing up to radical Islam.
Those are my words exactly. I mean, I think that's what I just said. And, I literally talk to people on the street or wherever I go. Sometimes people say, well, Russia, I mean, you can walk down the street and you can be kidnapped immediately. And it's this dangerous place where there are goats running down the street and people, still, using horse and buggy. It's like, wow, there's this kind of propaganda, and the propaganda is actually working. The fact of the matter is, Russia's a very, very educated country. They have some of the best medical education in the world. They are very, very cultured. They have some of the best musicians in the world. They have the Bolshoi Ballet, probably the best ballerinas in the world. They have amazing medical system. They are very educated, very, very nice, polite people. Russia is one of the nicest places you could ever go, and some of the best scientists. And we can all benefit from this friendship, because if Russia and America get together and become brothers, there's no stopping us. We can be, force in the world and have the greatest security and the greatest peacemaking capability on earth. And that's all I've ever tried to do. And for that, I'm being demonized, so it's funny.
Listen, I know you don't want to wade into a whole nother fight, but we know what's really going on. We talked about geopolitically, China has bought up Hollywood. It's bought up most of the companies. It's China trying to censor things. It's China manipulating things through the Democratic Party particularly. And that's the real wedge there. People think China and Russia are close. That's actually historically not the case. And so for people that don't understand geopolitically who wants this wedge, can you give people your perspective, not on the Chinese people, but on the Chinese communist leadership?
Well, I mean, they are brilliant strategists, as you know. Some of the best in the world. And when they do strategy and look at geopolitical strategy, they don't, like some people in some countries, they don't look at today or tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. For a long, long time, they're looking 50 years ahead, 100 years ahead, 200 years ahead. And they've come up with a genius strategy, which is basically the point that they're at right now. They have tremendous assets, tremendous financial assets, and tremendous financial power. And basically their strategy is to buy into everything and own everything they can. Therefore, they feel that at this point they will be able to control what they own, and right so. So, I'm not condemning them or anything else. I'm just saying that they're brilliant strategists and have set up a situation where they are able to enter into any of the countries out there in the world, or almost any, and do very, very well because of their strategy.
That's right, and now they've bought up most of our debt. They've got 97% of rare earth minerals. I mean, you talk about who's taking us over. The point is, it's not Russia, it's China. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the final segment with Steven Seagal. He's been on with us for, an hour and a half or so. And again, I have been through some of the same stuff he's been through. I've experienced it. I sit there and I watch the news. I watch comedy shows. They attack me, then they attack Steven in order. And we've shown you the clips. We'll show some more clips of it.
One voice of calm in these troubled times is right-wing radio host and furious cashew Alex Jones.
We'll be right back with funny man Steven Seagal.
And then I've got patriots in the Pentagon, patriots and other agencies that are like, listen, you gotta deal with this. I mean, you're under attack. we're under attack by a group that has been using pedophilia and other sex crimes to blackmail and control, just like they took over the Vatican. And that's turned out that the last pope had to step down because of blackmail. And then the deputy pope just got arrested for trafficking 100 kids. But that gets almost no coverage. And then stuff from 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago with no proof. I mean, you got Gloria Allred with her client admitting she, made up the signature or the date on the annual, that she added it. I mean, it's crazy what these people have been caught in. So, Steven Seagal, maybe you've got some Aikido metaphors or other things, but you were just talking about the audience and the crew and the people and how we're in a revolution, against this. And I really kind of a call to arms politically. So please repeat what you were saying, because we have these great conversations, obviously, off air. Here in closing, just what you want folks to know and understand.
Well, I mean, as I said earlier, we're really blessed in the sense that recently a very, very big handful of very powerful people, high up in the government, high up in the intelligence community, also people with billions of dollars, are coming in and fighting with us. They're helping us get on the deep web. They're helping us find out everything we need to know about people who are paying people to lie and trying to crucify people that have absolutely nothing to do with what they're saying. And, the one thing that they kept saying to me is, now it's two-way traffic. And even though these lawyers and some of the people who've been paid to lie think, oh, well, my lawyer will protect me and I'm not doing anything criminal. Well, most of what they're doing is not criminal, but it looks like we may be finding some criminal activity. And so it's two-way traffic now. And we are investigating them. And we're already finding that some of the people that are writing articles and some of the people that are paying people are pedophiles themselves and involved in a lot of illegal activity with these different secret rings that we are now looking at. So guess what? We are investigating you now, and it's not going to stop. We are coming after you.
Wow. And that's the thing is, from our sources, but also the research, it's also clear, look at the news, they did not want us to get together. That's why they've been preemptively demonizing, attacking, and it's just crazy that you've been trying to get in touch with me. I've been trying to get in touch with you for a long time. And we're both so busy and have so many contacts that it kind of gets lost like a needle in a haystack. But I know talking that what they feared is now happening. And anytime you want to come on the broadcast, it's an open door. And I'm just very honored to have you here. And it was great talking to your wife earlier and your great family. And I think just in closing, when they attack us, they attack due process, they attack all of your rights, and they're attacking our children, aren't they, Stephen? I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm just repeating things that I wrote notes this weekend. I mean, would you like to speak about, you're a human being, you have a family, and they're not just attacking you with these lies.
Well, let me tell you something that I haven't told you. The person who wrote this article on this woman who I don't believe ever met me, who can't even produce a picture with me, can't even say where I really lived 25 years ago or whatever, this person contacted my children. So to me, that's war. And he also told one of my producers that he wants to make sure that my movies don't come out. So that means he wants to kill my children because he doesn't want me to be able to feed my children. So you want war, you got war.
That's what I never get, is these people attack and attack and attack, and then we go after them, and then they freak out. It's like, well, what do you expect us to do, morons?
All I can say is, you, Alex, and me, we will never do anything illegal, but you know what? We don't have to. We don't have to do anything illegal to be able to put people in jail or expose them to the world. And guess what? It's in the works. It's in the works.
Well, it's amazing, and I don't like the Snoop system, and I don't like the whole deal, but, the patriots in the government have access to all these systems, and they know everything about me, and they know that I'm a person that really means what I'm saying, and I've been through a lot, and I'm not whining about it. And they've tried to destroy me, and they've literally tried to take my children from me, and They've literally said, you know, you back off and you throw Trump under the bus and all the pressure stops, buddy. And you'll have your big Hollywood job, everything else. Well, I already turned down the money years ago. I did it all. And I'm not bragging. I'm just letting the listeners know this isn't a movie. This is the real world. We're doing it. We're talking the talk. We're walking the walk. And we're having an effect. But your prayers, your support out there, listeners and viewers, no matter what color you are, where you came from, we're all in this together. And they're scared of what Trump's doing. They're scared of what Putin's doing. They're scared of what we're doing. There's no truth to the Russian collusion. The only truth is Russia is escaping from the same globalist nightmare. And any of us that have goodwill are the enemy, because we're not like Weinstein. We're not like Oprah Winfrey, part of her big eugenics cult she's in, you know, meeting at the Cold Springs Harbor facility, meeting with the Rockefellers. I mean, pull up mainstream news to depopulate the earth. I mean, these are sick, sick, sick people. And so I'm honored to be hated by them. I'm not saying I'm a hero. I'm saying we're in this fight now. It's real. Steven Seagal, the book, again, is The Way of the Shadow Wolves, the Deep State, and the Hijacking of America. Just like they can take you from 5 stars down to 3, our listeners can go read it and put it right back up there, I guess, until, you know, they pull something else. But it's just an ongoing fight. None of us are going to save the world together. I mean, none of us are going to save the world by ourselves, but we are going to be able to save the world together if we take action. We got about a minute and a half left, and just anything else you'd like to add?
Well, very simply that we are family people. We are men of God. We are people who bow down to the great people, not only in America, but in America and around the world, who serve our country, who serve God, and are about protecting our countries, our children, and our way of life. This is all we're trying to do, and we should not be punished for that.
I've got one last question, just because all the stuff that's been going on the last 3 days, we've been talking, and the sources and the people we both mutually know and others. You know, you've obviously gone out and been a deputy and been on all these raids and, you know, have served your country. The media makes fun of that because they're evil and because they invert reality. But I know huge movie stars and you know, you've been at the top of the box office, #1 movies many times. People like you get recruited as ambassadors when you go overseas by different agencies. And I haven't been told that, but I got a sneaking suspicion, Steven Seagal, that you've done more than what you've even said here when they make fun of your service to the country.
I'm going to remain silent on that and say thank you for your support.
All right. Thank you so much, Steven Seagal. We're going to go to break. I'm going to say bye to you here. I know it's late over there in Asia where you are. But again, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate Steven Seagal spending so much time with us today. I'm Alex Jones with Infowars.com and Newswars.com, and we need your support. We got big specials at InfoWarsStore.com. Without you, they will be able to shut us down, cut our sponsors off, and sue us into the ground. But because of you, like the Phoenix, we are reborn and rebuilt every day. So we need your commitment. We're committed to you. InfoWarsStore.com. Go there today. Water filters, non-GMO heirloom seeds, the best air purifiers, the best supplements, Patriot apparel. We need your financial support. But whatever you do, pray for us and spread the articles and the videos. It makes the globalists so upset as they try to censor and control civilization and society. InfoWarsStore.com. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the extended uncensored interview, actually hearing from Steven Seagal. I don't think he's ever done an interview like this, and this was destiny to happen. So I want to thank the Patriots and the Pentagon and the CIA and everybody that are Patriots on the inside for getting through all the obstacles and making sure that we got connected so we could fight for this republic. There's a war going on for the future of the world, not just America. Join us, the White Hats, today, and we can turn this whole thing around. Stay with us. We'll be back.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Elements inside the government, the deep state, are working with the media with fake news and fake leaks to try to undermine Trump's recovery. That's really the big news.
A soft coup is underway right here in the United States of America in an attempt to overturn November's election results and forcibly remove a duly elected president from office. Sinister forces quickly aligning in what is becoming now, in my mind, a clear and present danger.
When you see leaders on the left calling for essentially rising up and they allow for Antifa to do all the violence that they do, and then you have the beheading of the president virtually by Kathy Griffith, and this play where the President Trump is killed, and you have a certain percentage of the population who's going to buy into that, who become completely desensitized, become completely radicalized, and act.
A gunman opened fire when members of Congress and their staffs.
In the hours after 5 people were shot, including the House Majority Whip, you sent out a tweet that said, "Hunt Republicans." I mean, it was clearly a reference to the assassination attempt against Congressman Scalise. It's hard to imagine how you could justify writing something like that.
For too long, Republicans in this country have failed to distinguish the differences between politics and war. And a lot of Democrats have failed to see the similarities. So you guys either have to tone down the rhetoric or we have to step up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have so much proof of the Democrats saying, overthrow Trump, use COG, kill him, kill his supporters, cancel the last election, remove the Republicans that were elected in the last 2016 election. I mean, I've got the mainstream articles here where they're pushing it.
Here in America, we're at a turning point tonight with forces now forming an alliance to try and remove President Trump from office. It's that serious.
The left-wing media is out to get him. They are out to nullify an election for the first time.
America is now suffering from a massive informational crisis because, I call them the Destroy Trump media, has routinely been exposed now. Agenda-driven, propagandists, more than happy to push debunked tinfoil hat conspiracy theories.
Sean Hannity is currently the main leader of the resistance against the globalist outside of Trump, and then of course myself. But I am more grassroots, and I'm more frontline, being demonized, being attacked. It's my job to get the intel out, to take the main attack, to draw the enemy fire, so that we understand exactly what we're dealing with.
You've got the Destroy Trump media that has been lying to you now, provable lies for 11 months, nonstop. Trump, Russia, collusion. No evidence whatsoever.
The Russians, in my opinion, could not have known how best to weaponize that information unless they had been guided. And they began to have some of their allies within the internet world, like InfoWars, take out pieces and began to say the most outrageous, outlandish, absurd lies you can imagine.
You have RT, you have Sputnik, you have Rupley, and then I think you have them feeding other entities. InfoWars comes to mind, where those are echo chambers.
The way that the left is going about trying to demonize the president, essentially justify and ignore the violence on their side, and then reinforce that with a complete the imagery of death being acceptable, Kathy Griffith using the beheaded image of the president. All these things are the same way ISIS goes about radicalizing and recruiting people to become terrorists.
This is unprecedented, to have a president that behaves this way. Can anyone go back in history?
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
It's a sad day when you cannot depend on the president's word. And my advice would just be to Republicans who do cozy up to him, it's just like hugging a suicide bomber.
He's not a tough guy. He's a bully and he's a bitch.
He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig.
And he can suck my
He's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt.
I'll meet him in a hotel room any day of the week and give him a Louisville Slugger.
I'd like to punch him in the face.
Kiss my mother ass, you bitch punk sucker.
Pointing what appears to be a water gun at the image of President Donald Trump projected on a whiteboard, art teacher Pale Modi has now been seen by countless viewers across the internet.
Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
It's an actor dressed to look just like President Donald Trump as he's assassinated on stage.
Pictures and video depicting comedian Kathy Griffin
holding the bloody, decapitated head of President Trump are no joking matter for the Secret Service.
The rhetoric that has inspired the violence has come from the mainstream of the Democratic Party.
They're involved in the coup, an active attempt to start a bloody civil war.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the Resistance.
With Alpha Power by InfoWars Life, you can be in charge of your energy again. Alpha Power helps with a large amount of functions for your body to help bring you to the peak of your optimal health. Alpha Power has a 4.8 star rating on InfoWarsStore.com. Listen to all these incredible 5-star reviews from verified buyers. Papa Black Wilson says, whatever's in this is doing something good. I take it daily as I would any other daily vitamin, and it's got me in a state where even the normal day of a few hours sleep, rest easy, and wake up positive, regardless of the amount of sleep I get. And what Alex was hinting at when he first released this product, yeah, the missus surely enjoys it. Frank John says, this stuff is incredible. Wow, this is like taking brain force mixed with super male vitality at the same time. Alpha Power makes me feel well mentally, makes me want to exercise more, and helps me feel a little more confident. After about a week and a half or two, I started to really feel the huge raise in my male drive. That helps with focus too, like Brain Force Plus. I've tried about 15 InfoWars Life Health products, and they're always of supreme quality. LJ says, it's been 5 days since my boyfriend began taking Alpha Power. There's definitely been a change, for the better. Without getting too personal, our activity has increased, and that's fine by me. He also says he's got a bit more energy. I hope this lasts. One-Eyed Jack says, Alpha Power. I took Alpha Power for the first time this morning, and after about 15 minutes, I felt so awake and alert and full of energy. I take Super Male and Brain Force as well, but I have to say, this blows them both out of the water. Defeat the Globalists said, more energy at the end of the day. Taking 1 capsule a day in the AM, and even after being on the go all day, there's no crash at night. I'd feel exhausted after 8 p.m. Not anymore. Seem to be sleeping better too. I seem to have upped my water intake as well. I will definitely buy this again. Head to InfoWarsStore.com and experience Alpha Power today. That's InfoWarsStore.com.